Undeterred, telling stories, sharing thoughts, one topic at a time. Hi, this is Undeterred by Ken, and welcome to the podcast. If you're keen about certain topics, such as the arts, politics, community, and culture, then this podcast is for you. Join me as I talk about these things and share some of my insights in the hopes that I could inspire others to share their stories too.
Welcome to episode 8 of Undeterred by Ken. For this episode, we have our second guest. His name is Lau. He's my former student in theater. He's a licensed professional teacher, kasalukuyan nababaliw sa MS, and self-proclaimed most talented ADG member. The views and opinions of the guest do not reflect the host, the show, the management, and the network.
Ang programang ito ay rated SPG. Striktong patnubay at gabay ng magulang ang kailangan. Maaaring may masiselang tema, lengguwahe, karahasan, sexual, horror o droga na hindi angkop sa mga bata.
Welcome, Lau. Welcome to Undeterred.
Hi! So, feel nice to be here sa wakas.
Thank you. I know we've encountered a lot of technical difficulties in the past hour. Time check lang, it's already 12:05 in the morning, and thank you for staying with me all throughout while we're still figuring out, actually ongoing pa rin, we're still figuring out this shit. Anyway, so for the 8th episode of Undeterred, I actually reached out to you through Facebook Messenger. So I asked if you're free to discuss one important thing in the society today, which is Sogie. So Sogie is sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression. I actually come up with this topic because of the trending news about Chris Aquino's son, which is 𝑩𝑰𝑬. So yung anak ni James Yap and Chris Aquino na si 𝑩𝑰𝑬.
He's always been targeted din naman, di ba?
I know. Public figure sila. Siguro given naman na yun na they need to and they have to create topics or issues about themselves. Pero this one kasi parang minor yung naging target this time, just 𝑩𝑰𝑬. I want to dig in deeper into what Sogie is, of course. That's number one and my key point.
Okay.
And second is, what are the differences between the SOGI and the in the acronym?
Okay.
That's one. And then the last part, of course, is we'll be setting some example. We'll be discussing some examples as well of different lives of people in the entertainment industry since they're living the public eye. Let's start with number one. What is Sogie? Before you give your definition, pala, I want to give our audience as well, our listeners, my 3 listeners. my listeners, a brief background about your credentials when it comes to Sogie. So si Silao, I know this during the inset, di ba? Parang you discuss Sogie in great detail to teachers here in Bacoor City.
And then aside from that, I've been a gender and development coordinator sa school.
Ayan.
And then nag-roll out din ako ng division speakership about Sogie. Then nag-discuss ako sa buong division ng Bacoor, lahat ng teacher. So mga former teachers natin na doon. And then aside from that, I get to speak to other schools about Sogie. Okay, in the hopes na ma-enlighten yung mga bata about that.
Nice. That's very nice. Oh, to my 3 listeners. If you were going to bash Lau for his opinion, again, disclaimer lang, he knows what he's talking about. Before you give your definition of Sogie, I searched. This is an impromptu search. Anyway. Based on chp.edu, sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression it describes to whom a person is sexually attracted, and some people are attracted to other people of a particular gender, it says. Others are attracted to people of more than one gender. So very vague yung definition actually nila. It did not specify which is which. At saka, what are the differences between those 4? What is sexual orientation, what is gender identity, and what is gender expression? Tama ba? So Lau, can you shed some light on this matter? What is Sogie ba?
So, Sogie is, matagal na siya actually ginagamit. Akala ko din it's a new thing. Nung una ko palang narinig yung Sogie, and then I started researching academic journals na ginagamit na siya. Okay? So, before we start on the Sogie part, we will need to discuss isa ring pinagkakalito nila. What is sex and then gender? Kasi usually, ginagamit lagi, ay, sex, dalawa lang. Ay, gender, dalawa lang. So, when we talk about sex, it's about the physical manifestation of ng genitals or ng hormones, ganyan. Okay? Hindi ko na papabain with primary sex characteristics. Ito yung anatomical parts, yung mga penis, ganyan, yung mga vagina. And then when we talk about secondary sex characteristics, ito yung mga lumalabas during puberty. Katulad ng breast, ganyan, yung hairs, facial hairs. Okay? Its main difference with gender is a product of culture. It's a product of human interaction, social interaction, ganyan. According yan kay 𝑩𝑻𝑰 2018. So, yan, may reference tayo.
May reference na tayo, Hindi tayo mawawala. Okay.
True. Biggest misconception actually na ginagamit against LGBT people is dalawa lang ang gender or dalawa lang ang sex. Kung baka may binary, di ba? You always hear about it sa TV.
Tama, yung binary nga daw. It's only male and female and nothing else.
Ayan. Yun yung common sa mga nakikita kong online debates ganyan. Pero kahit sa sex, di ba, ang alam lang natin, XX or female and then XY.
Yeah.
Actually, meron tayong XXX at XXY.
Okay.
Okay, yun yung mga Klinefelter syndrome, ganyan. And then yung XXX syndrome. Actually, they are considered as intersex. Sila yung mga taong hindi nagbe-belong dun sa male and female.
Sa binary.
Oo, sa binary. So sabihin natin, according to biology, dalawa lang ang sex. Mali.
Kasi that is wrong again.
Yes.
So, na-debunk na agad natin yung yung myth nila na sex is a classification between either male or female. Okay. So, yun, malinaw tayo sa sex. Ano naman yung sexual orientation?
Okay. So, yung sexual orientation, papasok siya sa Sogie, which is gender. Again, it is culturally. Karamihan, since we're living in a Christian, patriarchal society, we have this idea of masculinity and femininity lang eh. Kumbaga meron lang tayong lalaki at babae, which is wrong. Kasi in other cultures, meron tayong tinatawag na other gender, okay? So, for example, sa mga Native Americans, meron tayong tinatawag na mga umbrella people or umbrella spirit. So, bakit sila tinawag na gano'n? Kasi actually, they hold a place, a special place in their society. Nagiging leaders sila, mataas ang respeto sa kanila. Because, ang pinaka-importante kasi yung factor sa kanila is kaya nilang magmahal ng lahat ng klase ng tao.
Parang yung affection nila, hindi lang siya nabe-base kung lalaki or babae. Anyone, whatever your orientation is, okay sa kanila. Parang may nabasa ko sa Philippine culture naman, Philippine history. Sa Pampanga yata yun. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yun nga, parang merong mga babaylan, mga ganyan. Nagbe-bend naman yung nila, yung orientation yata nila. Lalaki kasi yun dati. Tapos parang nag-identify na siya as, nag-lean towards parang more feminine na siya. Tapos, basta i-check ko muna yung reference ko. Pero, I heard a story about that. I'm not sure if it's folkloric or true story, pero may nabasa ako. Nagpo-fall ba yun sa sexual orientation?
So, madami namang mythos na nagdi-discuss about sa sexual orientation ng tao. So, discussing Sogie, let's start with sexual orientation. So, when we talk about sexual orientation, it is how are you attracted romantically or sexually to a person?
Okay. So, kunwari, nagkaka-crush ka sa, ako, lalaki ako. Nagkaka-crush ako sa kapwa ko lalaki. Ano yung sexual orientation ko?
Okay, when talking about having a sexual or romantic relationship or attraction to a person of the same gender, we refer to it as homosexuality.
Okay. So, this will fall under the category of mga gay people.
Yes.
Gay, tapos lesbian.
Actually, yun yung two types ng homosexuality.
Okay.
So, gay is male homosexuality, and then lesbianism is a female homosexuality.
Okay, cool. Sana naman naging klaro yung sexual orientation. It's who you are attracted to, both sexually and romantically. So, yung mga infatuation, crush, kahit bata ka pa, kahit matanda ka na, yun yung sexual orientation mo. So, it's leaning towards more to who you are attracted to.
Yes.
Hindi kung ano ikaw. Mamaya yan, i-discuss naman yan ni Lau. So, medyo clear na sa akin yung sexual orientation, Lau. Ano naman yung susunod na?
Okay, when talking about gender identity, it is how you see yourself. Kumbaga, it's more personal, it's more interpersonal. How do you see yourself in the mirror?
Okay. So, for example, ako lalaki ako, sexual, yung sex ko, as in yung sinabi mong sa biology ko, yung sa anatomy ko. Ako lalaki ako, nakikita ko, ito, physically, I'm male. I'm categorically male, sabi ng science. Tapos, yung gender identity naman, it's how I perceive myself as.
Yes.
Ayun, how I see myself as. So, for example, lalaki ako, pero parang feel ko na magbabaihan, parang gano'n.
Okay, so you feel like a female.
Parang gano'n.
So we refer to it as transgender or transsexual.
Ayun yun. So, magpo-fall yun sa gender identity.
Yes.
That's your gender identity. For example, yung mga nakikita nating Miss Trans Intercontinental, yung mga ganyan. Sa beauty pageant na gano'n for transgender. Kaya si Miss Payne na lang sa Miss Universe na sumali nung panahon ni Catriona Gray.
Ayan,
Si
yes.
Miss Payne.
Very good example.
That's an actual example of biologically male nung pinanganak siya, pero she's not seeing herself as male. Kaya nag-transition siya, and that's her gender identity. Considered siya as trans.
Yes.
Okay, so yun. So again, yung sexual orientation, it's more leaning towards how you are attracted to sa different person. It doesn't matter kung ano sila, lalaki, babae, or whatever.
Yes.
At tapos yung gender identity niya naman, it's how you see yourself as, how you perceive yourself as.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, pwede nating masabi na si perfect example dito sa Philippines is si Charisse Pentenco.
Okay.
Sorry. This is one of the things I don't want to get used to, pero I'm trying to correct myself. But yun, hindi siya si Charisse Pentenco, siya si Jake Cyrus.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, Charisse. I'm so sorry, Jake. Ayun, dead name. Don't do that. Don't dead name trans people pala. So it hurts kasi those are the things that they want to they want to forget and they don't want to live with moving forward sa buhay na nila. So yan, si Jake Cyrus nga is one classification ng gender. Yung gender identity niya is trans men.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Ano naman, kasi nalilito ako, dito talaga ako nalilito sa gender identity and expression. So yung gender identity, that's one thing, and then gender expression is another thing.
Yes, it's another thing.
Okay.
So gender expression naman is how you present yourself to the world. Ano yung pinapakita mo? Paano ka kumilos?
Okay. Can you expound on that?
Okay, usually, ang gender expression kasi nasa spectrum, wala kasing may mga taong sobrang straight, may mga taong sobrang feminine, may sobrang masculine, and merong in between.
So, kunwari, for example, may colors of the rainbow.
Ayan.
So, merong mga nag-leaning towards more masculine, sabi na mask for mask. Tapos, mga feminine, medyo mga paminta, mga ganun ba yun?
Usually, mga feminine is more associated with female energy.
Okay. So, sabihin natin yung mga expression na, yung mga sinasabi nila, kasi ngayon, very uso na yung term na, sabi ko na Barbie. Yung mga napapansin ba ng mga tao, for example, ito very close to the hearts of many Filipino people. Kasi, sa isang bahay, siyempre, di ba, minsan may papapansin ka, isang kamag-anak natin, medyo malambot kumilos, malamyan na tinatawag, magpo-fall yan under gender expression.
Oo. At ang thing about that, hindi porket ganun yung gender expression mo, automatically, kaya mo nang i-assume yung sexual orientation ng tao.
Exactly. So, hindi siya
basis.
Hindi siya a gatekeeper, for example, para sabihin na, porket ganito yung gender expression ng isang tao, ito na agad yung yung sexual orientation.
Yes.
Okay. So, hindi siya ganun. Yun, mabalik tayo ngayon, kasi kaya ko actually ginawa itong podcast na to is to shed some light on 𝑩𝑤𝑰's issue. So, yung issue ni 𝑩𝑤𝑰 kasi, parang meron yatang video si 𝑩𝑤𝑰 dun sa vlog yata ni Chris or whatever. Yun nga, na parang yung gender expression niya is different from what we used to seeing in a male person. Sa biological niya. Yun nga, medyo sabi nila, parang malamya, malambot, pati yung the way he talks, the way he presents himself, yun nga, which is yung gender expression niya, it's not yung nakikita natin sa box na kinuha lang natin yung idea natin na ito lang yung pwedeng ikilos ng lalaki. Gusto kong mag-shed ng light doon dahil na-target si 𝑩𝑤𝑰 numerous times kasi yung mga joke lang sa kanya is very shallow lang. Kunwari parang nakagat ng langgam sa Bimbi, pina-hospital na ni Chris, mga gano'n. Tapos
rich
ngayon,
people problems.
yung mga gano'n, mga RK problems. Hindi naman tayo pwedeng sabihin first world problems, third world tayo. Ano kasi, nag-blow up sa Twitter ito, yung issue ni Bimbi, tapos napunta na rin sa Facebook and sa different social media platforms. Kawawa naman kasi yung bata, sabi naman nila, ang maganda rito kasi is, may ano ko lang, sabi ng Inquirer.net, Bim naman daw has been repeatedly targeted with bullying because people are insisting he is gay. Parang very unfair naman for us, pangunahan.
Actually, may word na gay, di ba? It's a sexual orientation. But yung pinapakita ni Bimbi dun sa video, dun sa mga, it's his expression.
Yung gender expression lang niya. Exactly. So, kung yung mga sinasabi ng tao na, sabi ko na Barbie, yung gaydar, yung baklameter na tinatawag nila, di ba? It's very wrong na pangunahan natin yung tao, let alone minor na si Bimbi, 13 years old. Yes. So, ulit-ulit, targeted in the internet, kahit sabihin pa natin na they're living under the public eye, it's unfair for them na gawin natin yun, to judge them, not knowing kung ano talaga sila. So, kung ano man si Bimbi talaga, sa totoo lang, kung ano man si Bimbi, wala na tayong pakialam doon.
Hindi naman magbabago ekonomiya ng Pilipinas.
Yayaman ba? Yayaman lang naman sila, Chris. Hindi naman tayo yayaman doon. People, wake up. It's 2021. We're living under the guise of actual change na nangyayari na. Boomers are dying. Millennials are getting older. Hopefully, getting older the right way. Tapos, Gen Zs are kings and queens of nuisance. Nagkakaroon na talaga ng pagbabago sa century na to. So, itong mga simpleng bagay na to, hindi ko alam kung bakit nagiging issue pa rin sila. Na information is sitting right in front of your hand. All you need to do is to look for it, to search for it, para malinawan ka kung ano yung difference ng Sogie, ng sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression.
I think ang problem kasi dyan, number one, is the lack of education in the Philippines when it comes to Sogie. Nagturo din ako dati sa senior high, so nakikita ko nga yung education, usually wala, kailangan pa pa-seminar na ganyan, pa-seminar na ganito, hindi siya included sa curriculum yung Sogie. Okay? And then, aside from that, ang problema kasi sa tao, lalo na, ito kasi ginagamit para i-discredit yung mga ganyang bagay. Yung term na, ang snowflake mo naman, lalo na sa aming mga Gen Z, okay? Masyado daw kaming sensitive. Kasi kaming mga Gen Z, we learn how to acknowledge the problem. Kapag may problema, na-acknowledge namin siya. Hindi kasi natatake lang isang problema kapag hindi mo ina-acknowledge na may problema. Hindi siya ma-solve.
Yung sa naman, mabalik lang tayo dun sa ni Bimbi, yun nga. Kasi minor pa si Bimbi eh. So, ano pa rin siya sa stage ng buhay niya siguro na it's either he's questioning or he's just parang binubuo pa lang niya yung yung sexual orientation niya. If hindi man siya pumapasok, magpo-fall dun sa binary na tinatawag natin na straight male or yung binary, yung male or female or whatever. So yun pa lang, binubuo pa lang niya. Kaya nga may mga yun nga, 'di ba? Kaya nga sa batas natin yung right age to decide to get married, 'di ba? 18 or 21. Kasi nga hindi pa talaga buo yung yung decision making skills niya on critical things like your sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression. However, yun nga, if the right people is with you during those times, they can guide you on the right path on how to really discover yourself. Hindi yung sasabihin sa'yo na, hey, hindi kasi tama yun. Yung kunwari, sasabihin mo sa kapamilya mo na medyo malamya gumalaw, lalaki or babae man yan na medyo matigas gumalaw, sabihin mo na, hey, parang ba yung kinikilos na? Kahit maganda mo sabihin, pero mali pa rin yung sasabihin mo na, hey, this is wrong and this is right. No, you don't do that kasi they are still discovering who they are. Actually. Kahit napakaganda mo pang i-frame yan, pero hanggat hindi mo pinababayaan yung tao na yun, na ma-discover talaga kung ano siya at binabox mo pa rin siya dun sa paniniwala na lalaki lang o babae lang, that's still wrong.
Actually, I've seen, yung mga ganyang bagay. It's not about, hindi lang din sa family. Well, yun sa family kasi, kung isipin mo, siguro na in their eyes, nakikita nila na binubuli yung mga ganyan, yung pinaprotektahan ka lang.
They're coming from the place of real concern
real
dun sa
concern.
bata or sa tao,
Yes.
sa family. Kaya siguro sinasabi nila, hey, don't act like that.
Kaya ang pinakamagandang dyan is, imbes na i-despise is, we need to educate those type of person na kailangan nating paliwanagang mabuti.
Tama. Actually, maganda yun kasi yung platforms natin yun, digital platforms natin yun, it's actually bridging yung differences between generations. For example, boomer generations, they're slowly picking up on how to learn social media and how to use it and how to use it effectively. Tapos, millennials naman are masters of digital platforms. Tapos, kung masters na nga tayo, edi sobrang masters lalo yung mga
We're redefining it.
Exactly. So, parang kinoconnect tayo ng social media platforms. Parang on social media platforms, call out natin different age groups. For example, si Tito, si Tita, nag-comment ng ganito, nag-share ng ganitong post about Sogie, which we perceive as something na medyo demeaning or wrong. We can call them out without having to, yung parang hindi na tayo masyado naiiyak. Kasi yung sa Philippine culture, di ba? Hindi mo pwedeng punahin si Tito, si Tita kasi mas matanda yan sa'yo, respect, ganyan. Pero sa social media, nabibridge na yung gap na yun because una, nababawasan yung ganon kasi hindi na nga face-to-face na ganyan. Hindi na nahihiya yung mga batang i-call out yung mga mas matanda sa kanila. Number 2, naipapahayag na talaga ng mga batang yun kung ano talaga yung updated in terms of science, in terms of research about these things. Kasi itong mga to, hindi naman to bigla-bigla na lang, hey, binago namin ganyan. Hindi. It takes a lot of time, years, and experience ng mga taong professional behind those papers na nire-release nila in public just to say na, hey, this is wrong. We were wrong before and we're doing something right now.
Para maayos.
Or hindi mabago. Hindi siya pinabago kasi discovery yung nangyayari. Ibig sabihin, it's always like that. It's been like that for years and years.
Yes.
Hanggang na-discover na nga lang ngayon ng mga professionals na.
Yes. It's di ba? Ang Sogie nasa academically, published paper siya.
Exactly.
It's acknowledged. So,
tama.
It's there.
Yung sabi nga before sa professional, di ba? Yung sa psychiatric, sa American Psychiatric Society yata yun na, people who are gay are classified as people who has mental illnesses. Tapos, na sila ng bagong research again, proving na, no, that's wrong. Parang mali yung paper namin na nilabas before, and tinanggal na nga siya as a classification ng mental illness. Yung mga ganung bagay, simpleng bagay, pero napakalaki ng impact kasi ng misinformation or disinformation from yung previous generations. Kasi nadadala siya, naidadala siya sa upbringing ng mga younger generations.
Ayun din, sadly, hanggang ngayon, yung ganyang ideas, nag-exist pa siya sa ibang tao. Hanggang ngayon, meron pa nung, kasi dati, ang ginagamit kapag, for example, gay, di ba, tinitreat siya as mental illness, nagkakaroon tayo ng electrotherapy, yung kinukuryente utak. Hanggang ngayon pala may nangyayari pa.
Actually, meron pa rin ngayon ganun. Actually, din nga sa States, di ba? Kahit napaka-forward thinker na nila as a nation, as a whole, federal law na sa kanila yung marriage equality and such. Pero, yung conversion therapy na tinatawag natin, hindi pa rin siya illegal across across United States. Yung conversion therapy, yung sinasabi mo, yung electrocution na ginagawa nila, hindi yung pinapatay yung tao, pero parang pinapakitaan nila ng mga gay or sexual images yung tao na sabi nila is gay. Tapos kinukuryente nila yung tao yun para ma-associate yung feeling na yun anytime or every time na makakakita siya ng mga ganung bagay para hindi niya nagawin. So, very barbaric in this century, 21st century, 2021. Bakit ganun? Sobrang, di ba, for a first world country like in the United States, if they can still do that, what more can third country leaders can do to pursue those things as well, di ba?
Actually, speaking of leaders then, they make homophobic regards. Let me quote one.
Yes,
so
please.
This one is a very famous senator. A very ambitious senator.
Okay, sino ba?
Papangalanan ko ba? Pwede mo pangalan dito?
Wait, ibigay mo muna yan. Ibigay mo muna yung initials niya.
EP.
Okay. Sige, go ahead.
Okay, si Senator 𝑩𝑰 Pacquiao.
Okay, mas kilala yata nila sa
Okay, MP na Manny Pacquiao. Okay. In one interview, na tinanong siya about yan sa gender identity ayan, sa Sogie, about
Okay.
gay people. Na sinabi siya na buti pa yung mga hayop, alam nila kung kanino makikipag-sex or makikipag-relationship, okay? So, ayun, mabuti pa daw yung mga hayop. So, mas ina-assume niya na, sinasabi niya na mas masahol nga daw ang LGBT people sa hayop.
Grabe, no? Kasi yun nga, sa isang article din ng Inquirer.net, yun nga yung sinabi mo mismo yung remark ni Senator Manny Pacquiao.
Papangalanan natin.
So he is in a place of power. He holds a seat of power in the national government of the Philippines. And he has the audacity to say that. What more can other people do, di ba? Ang sabi niya, it's common sense daw, bilang Pilipino, it's common sense na lang na makakita ka ba na may any animals na lalaki, babae sa babae. Excuse me, Senator. Pakilinaw nga, parang yung homophobia, Senator, dito lang sa isang species lang. Dito sa Earth meron, parang sa humankind lang.
Alam mo ba na some animals practice homosexuality?
Excuse me, MP. Again, Senator Manny Pacquiao. Very wrong po.
Yung may mga penguins, ayan, meron kasi ang subject sa masters.
Ayan, bro.
Yung behavioral ecology, ayan, we study the behavior of animals. And then, ayun nga, may mga behavior na talagang nag-favor sa homosexuality because it's an advantage.
Exactly.
Ito yung tinatawag natin gay uncle hypothesis. Kapag masyadong maraming anak yung mga straight, may mga gay uncles na mag-rise para mag-alaga.
Nag-a-adopt.
Oo, nag-a-adopt.
Yung mga gay penguins, ilang beses na yata nabalita sa sa animal thing, yung sa BBC. Tapos meron pa akong isang parang nabasa rin na animal yata. I'm not sure if it's fish or frogs. Pag walang available na babae yata or lalaki, nag-iiba din mismo sila ng sexual sex nila.
It's common actually in the fishes. Kapag nalaman mo na ginagawa yun ng mga clownfish, actually magbabagong isip mo tungkol sa Nemo.
Okay, yung ba yan? Yung parang tatay ni Nemo, kaya hinahanap niya si Nemo.
Ang mga clownfish kasi, they mate for life. Ganyan. So, mayroon sa isang mga colony, may mga anak-anak sila. And then, may hierarchy yun. So, may dalawang reproductive partners sa taas. Isang lalaki, isang babae. Pag namatay yung babae doon, automatic, yung tatay, magiging babae yun. Tapos, yung anak niya na pinakamatanda, siya yung magiging asawa ng lalaki.
So,
kaya hinahanap
niya na si Nemo.
Sorry, kids.
Wala na. Scarred for life.
God, favorite film ko pa naman yun.
Oh my God, okay. So yun nga, nalaman na natin yung Sogie, yung sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression, na clear out, na bigyan na rin natin ng medyo, na-touch na rin natin yung topic about 𝑩𝑤𝑰.
Okay.
Parang gusto ko rin naman i-touch din yung transition naman ni Jake Cyrus, kasi nabanggit naman natin si Jake a little while ago. Common courtesy, hindi common courtesy, parang it's basic human decency
Actually,
to at least make an effort, a conscious effort to not dead name a transgender person.
and then address him as a female, yung ginagamit her.
Diba? Parang ikaw, kung kaya mo tawagin si Jake Cyrus na Charis Contento still until this day with his current physical attributes, diba? Or kahit hindi actually, diba? Parang kahit hindi, basta sinabi na ng tao na transgender siya and he or she or them identified as transgender person, you start addressing them on the sex that they identify as. Hindi na yung
on how they see themselves.
Wala na yung
hindi mo madidiktahan kung anong gender identity ng tao kasi makapagsabi lang ng gender identity ng tao ay sarili niya.
Sila lang ang diba? Yun nga, diba? Babalik na naman tayo kay 𝑩𝑤𝑰. Natin papangunahan kay bata pa yan, kay matanda na yan. Because the history tells us again and again na mali talaga mga alam, diba?
Tapos yung mga tao naman, kapag na ganyan, joke lang naman kasi, ayun ang problema ginagawa natin siyang joke.
Exactly.
Kaya hindi siya sineseryoso ang issue ng gender sa Pilipinas.
Tama. Imbes na magkaroon tayo ng parang sound discussion about Sogie, ang nangyayari na lang, parang puro na lang tayo gender sensitivity training. Parang ilang beses na yata nakakita ng gender sensitivity training sa mga guards, sa mga PNP, sa mga government agencies, di ba? Parang napakadaming beses na. Pero then and again, ang dami pa rin mga lapses na nangyayari. For example na lang yung sa
Sa education system ng Pilipinas.
isa pa yun, di ba? Imbis na ilagay sana sa...
Ilang kaklase mo yung transgender na nakita mong ginupitan ng buhok ng mga guidance counselor.
Tama.
Isipin mo ha, bata sila, tapos binidiktahan sila ng gender identity nila. Isipin mo, nagpahaba sila ng buhok to feel good about themselves, di ba? Kasi yun yung nararamdaman nila eh. Yun yung between sila. Tapos biglang gugupitan ng buhok. Imagine how soul-crushing it is for them.
Exactly.
Nade-destroy yung personality nila and confidence sa'yo.
Yun nga sa during their developmental age, at a very young age, they're very lucky to have found out na yun yung yun yung sexual orientation nila talaga or gender identity nila and expression nila. Kasi nga, siguro may mga supportive talaga silang parents at saka yung mga people around them are very supportive of them. Pero it doesn't end in the household. It doesn't end in one people's home.
Kasi lalabas ka din ng bahay.
Lalabas kasi aalis. Makikipsalamuha sa community. Hindi lang naman yan. Siguro ngayong pandemic, dito ka lang talaga sa loob. Pero yung reality aalis at aalis, makikisalamuha yan sa community niya. Kung yung mga tao sa community niya, hindi talaga siya kayang tanggapin just because they know less about what that person identify as. Parang it's very unfair naman for that person to suffer their entire life just because you don't know how to treat them right.
Looking at TV pa naman, popular media, movies, songs,
yes.
You can see a lot of ridiculed reference about gay people, about lesbian people.
Exactly.
We always make fun of them. We always make fun of those person na hindi naka-include or hindi naka-incline doon sa binary gender na iniisip natin yun lang na nag-exist.
Yes.
Actually pa nga lang, dahil nga doon, pag nakita ka ng mga Sogie bill heated discussion,
yes,
lagi na lang, it's more favor sa gay, parang binibigyan sila ng privilege. No, kasi hindi lang gay people may Sogie, kahit straight people may Sogie. Exactly. They are still part of that spectrum, kaya ginawa yung Sogie na yun, para lahat kasama.
Exactly. Hindi lang, parang binabawi, hindi naman natin binabawi kasi wala namang na-strip off. Ang nangyari nga, wala kasi tayong existing laws protecting people who identify differently than what currently is on history. For example, male and female. Kung malalaman natin, just yung mga unang tao pa, for sure, hindi lang sila nakakapag-come out kasi nga, it's not accepted. Pero some of them, if not most of them, does not belong in the binary. Parang it's not male or female, di ba? So, meron tayong mga tinatawag nga, di ba, parang mga gay conflict, men and women, di ba? Hindi lang lalaki at babae yung mga na-rape ng panahon ng hapon. May mga lalaki at babae rin. So, walang mga nagpo-protect sa kanila.
Kasi hindi sila in-acknowledge.
Uli nga, kasi hindi talaga in-acknowledge yung existence nila, even though they exist. So, yung discovery ng Sogie during this century, napakalaking parang napakalaking hallmark niya in civil rights movement. Parang ito yung battle of the century natin for us to prove that meron tayong sariling isip, na meron tayong sariling sistema na kaya natin gawin, na kaya natin protektahan yung mga members ng society natin, na hindi talaga na hindi nag-fall sa lalaki at babae lang. Sabi nga nila, everyone has a sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression.
Yes.
Hindi lang lalaki at babae. Hindi lang yung mga bakla, hindi lang yung transgender, hindi lang yung mga queer. Napakadami ko pa actually tanong. Kasi diba, hindi lang naman nagpo-fall yung sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression dun sa LGBT. LGBT. Yun nga yung kasi alam nila. So meron pang LGBTQIA, N, napakadami. So, kung i-discuss natin yan lahat yan dito sa podcast, hindi na tayo matapos. Thank you so much, Lau, for gracing our episode 8 with your intellect. Wow! wait lang, may pasok ko lang. Sabi kasi nila, intellect is not bounded by the laws of gender, by the laws of religion, and by the laws of power.
Yes.
Sabi nila, intellect transcends those boundaries. Kasi intellect, hindi mo nakikita yan. So, yung intellect talaga, yung mag-bridge ng gap between the division between yun nga, yung mga hindi nakakaalam about Sogie, hindi nakakaalam about yung the spectrum, at saka yung mga people within that spectrum. So, final words ko lang siguro before I ask for your final words as well about it. Let's try to understand. If we can't understand, try to be as understanding as we can by opening a book.
Mm-mm.
If we can't open a book, literally, we can figuratively open a book by looking and touching our screens. Diba? Hindi mo kayang mabuhay. Kung hindi mo kayang mabuhay isang araw na hindi mo nahawakan yung cellphone, why not make an effort to at least look up something, at least once in your life, to try and understand something na parang ang hirap intindi.
Yes.
Diba? It will not make your life easier. It will make others' life easier as well.
Yes.
Yan. Yun lang yung yun lang yung final word ko about this issue.
Yes.
Ikaw naman, Lau, can you give us like your final word about Sogie?
Okay, so in studying or in acknowledging actually the Sogie, in passing the bill, ganyan, in acknowledging na may problem nga ang Pilipinas when it comes to Sogie. Dito natin lagi niyong iisipin na with that, yung pag in-spread natin itong information, may mga bata tayong na-spare from physical, emotional, verbal abuse. And then remember na kapag nagawa natin yun, na bawasan natin ng mga bata, mas marami tayong natutulungan buhay.
Oo, nakakatuwa naman yun. Kasi it reminded me, actually I'm just looking it up. This is one of the many LGBTQ themed movies that I saw during my young age. This is called Prayers for Barbie. Prayers for Barbie is a movie with Sigourney Weaver. Tapos yung ano dito kasi, yung last dito is parang nag-appear si Sigourney Weaver, which is yung nanay ni Bobby na nag-suicide. Si Bobby nag-suicide siya because hindi siya accepted ng society at yung parents niya.
It's not actually the movie nangyari sa
madaming. True to life movie. Pero
nangyayari siya sa
wait lang, parang true to life movie ito, sorry. This is a true to life movie. And si Bobby nga, meron siyang religious parents na discover niya yung sexual or yung Sogie niya at a very young age. Tapos hindi siya na-support ng parents niya. And unfortunately, it ended up him taking his own life. Babasahin ko lang yung final words ni Mary Griffith. Yun yung pangalan ni Sigourney Weaver dun sa movie. So sabi niya, there are children like Bobby sitting in your congregations. Unknown to you, they will be listening as you echo Amen, and that will soon silence their prayers to God for understanding and acceptance, and for your love, but your hatred and fear and ignorance of the word gay will silence those prayers. So before you echo Amen in your home and place of worship, think and remember a child is listening. So yun, di ba? Kinikilig mo ito na.
True. Hashtag protect trans kids.
It's giving me goosebumps kasi yung mga kagawian natin, it all starts from home.
Yes.
Kung makikita tayo ng mga anak natin and they always see you not as accepting as they wish you are.
Yes.
Instead of opening up to you, they will open up to different people outside your home.
Yes.
And sometimes those people outside your home, they don't have the best interest for your child. And sometimes, yun nga, doon nagsisimula yung bad influences. And imbes na malihis yung mga anak ninyo just because they saw you, parang nagbibigay ng mga scatty remarks or negative remarks about people
exuding hatred.
Yeah, you're exuding hatred towards gay people or LGBTQ community, and they see themselves as part of that. They will automatically sabihin nila, ay, galit para sa akin ng parent ko. Diba?
Malalayo sila
lalo sa inyo. Lalo silang lalayo sa inyo. Sa totoo naman, anak at anak mo pa rin yan. And I'm so grateful to those people na accept nila yung anak nila despite of who they are. Yun, napahaba na naman. Anyway, again, thank you, Lau, for gracing the show, for gracing our 8th episode and shedding some light about Sogie, about its meaning and pahapyaw actually. Kasi napakadami pa natin pwedeng i-discuss about Sogie. Napakaganda pa nito sobrang haba pa. Ayun na lang siguro. Salamat for gracing the show.
Ako din pala, magte-thank sa'yo kasi thank you na gamit yung platform para lagi niya tatandaan mga viewers, protect trans kids.
Ayun, hashtag trans lives
matter. Yeah.
All trans lives matter. Okay. Thank you. And do you want to promote anything, your social media? Where can they see you?
You can see me dyan, pakalat ka. Hindi, joke lang. You can follow me on my Instagram.
Okay, what's
Lao
your handle?
that is that Lao. Lao is Lao. Okay, may mga period between words.
Okay, Lao that
Is
that
that Lao.
Okay.
If you have any questions, then yun.
If you have follow-up questions about Sogie, you can send me an email at ken.f.fernandez@gmail.com. I had a great time with you, and thank you for being my second guest on my 8th episode.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe so you can get updates on the upcoming episodes. Please follow me on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram with the username @BernardesCan. We now have a Facebook page. Just simply search for Undeterred by Ken. This podcast will also be uploaded on YouTube, Buzzsprout, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast. Just simply search for Undeterred by Ken. This is Ken, and thank you for listening to Undeterred.